Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Fantastic Fermentations YouTube channel, your home for all things homebrew. I am Ricky, and today we are going to be brewing the Black is Beautiful Stout. So hang tight, and we're going to get into mashing. So if this is your first time coming to the channel, I would like to say welcome, but do us a favor, go down and hit that subscribe button. Also hit that bell notification so that you get notified every time we post content. Wouldn't want you to miss anything. Plus we're coming up on some milestones, and once we hit those milestones, there's gonna be some giveaways. So I want everyone to kind of be up to date on that. Make sure they don't miss out on anything. If you haven't heard already, everybody around the country is brewing this Black is Beautiful Stout. So a brewer down at Withered Souls in Texas created this recipe as a way to bring the brewing community together in solidarity around social injustice and racial equality. So there's a ton of breweries. I think the last number was over 750, over 800 breweries in the United States are brewing this beer, with proceeds going to various social justice organizations. I got this recipe from Atlantic Brew Supply, who is one of my sponsors, and all of the, well, not, I think all the proceeds from the recipes, or a portion of the proceeds, I should say, from the recipe kits that are being sold is going to the ACLU of North Carolina. So they're going to go right back into our community to help promote social equality. But today, with this homebrew recipe, I am going to be doing a new to me technique. I hadn't heard about it until I heard about this recipe. But I'm using a mash technique called reiterated mashing. Reiterated mashing is where you split the grain bill in half. You mash half the grain, you lift that out, drain it, and then you use the wort to mash the second portion of the grain. This will allow you to brew a really big beer if your mash tun doesn't have the capacity. So if you've been hanging out with me long enough, you know I use the mash and boil. And the mash and boil really tops out at about 16 pounds. And that makes it so that you really can't make like these big stouts or barley wines or things of that nature. So I'm going to try this reiterated mash technique to see if I can hit the gravities that I'm supposed to hit in a normal single mash, doing this technique in my mash and boil, and that can kind of raise the capacity of what I do with the mash and boil, and hopefully what you do with your mashing equipment. Some people have smaller coolers, some people are doing brew in a bag. You can do this with either of those things. Especially with brew in a bag, it makes it easier for you to lift it out as opposed to trying to lift out, I don't know, 17 pounds of grain or 16 pounds of grain. It gets pretty heavy. So this technique should make it easier, but we're gonna see. Gonna jump in and see how it goes. All right, so with this beer, like I said, I am only mashing half of the grain in the first portion. The full grain bill is 10 pounds two-row, 2 pounds flaked oats, 1 pound chocolate 350, 3/4 pounds of caramel 120, 3/4 pounds of flaked barley, 3/4 pounds of roasted barley, ½ pound chocolate rye, and 1/4 pound of black patent. So I had my man Todd at Atlantic Brew Supply split that grain bill in half. He also took out the flaked products. So the flaked oats and the flaked barley, he separated those, and I added the flaked products to the first mash so that the first mash is a little bit stickier and the second mash shouldn't be as sticky. It should go a little bit smoother. But so half of the barley grain bill went in, and then all of the flake products into this first mash portion, and it is looking good so far, and we'll see how this mashes up. I am mashing at a temperature of 154. I could have went up to 156. That adds a little bit more body to the beer, but I didn't want to add too much body to this beer because I don't know what your temperature like is wherever you are in whatever part of the world you are, but here in Raleigh, North Carolina, it is still hot. And today, even though it's overcast, it is super muggy. And the last thing we want to be drinking in at the end of August, beginning of September, when it's still warm, is a super heavy stout. So I dropped it down to 154 to kind of lighten up that body a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. So the mash on the first half of the grain and the flaked oats and the flaked barley is complete. I'm getting ready to do a little lauter to clear out some of the grain so that it's not so murky and cloudy and grainy when I get ready to drain the second one. I want to go into the second one with the cleanest wort possible. And that's looking good. This is I've lautered maybe about a gallon and a half, 2 gallons worth, just to kind of get it clear. Smells amazing. It's got a nice roasty quality to it. I can smell the chocolate notes off of it. A little bit of coffee notes too. But really coming along. So, let me move this out of the way. So now I'm going to lift this out, let it drain, and then dump the grain into this bucket, and then put the tube back in and mash the second half. So the first mash is complete. I took the grain, drained it, did a little sparge, dumped it into this bucket here. And now we're getting ready to mash the second portion of the grain. Actually, let me take a gravity reading and see where we're at. We are currently at about 1047. So now we have the second grains, and I'm going to dump those into this wort so that we can mash them. Alright, let's get this mixed in. And this mash is a little bit looser than normal because I did do a little bit of a sparge, but we should still get the same effects. So the second mash is done. I'm going to, oh wow, that's black. And black is beautiful. See what I did there? Second mash is complete. Let's take a gravity reading so we can see where we are pre-boil, just to make sure we're on the right track and to see if this reiterated mash actually works. So after cooling the sample down, our pre-boil gravity is amazing. It is 1076, around 1076, 1077, and that's really good, because our final gravity was supposed to be 1075. So we are going to be very efficient on this brew. So let's keep going and see where we end up. All right, so the brew day is complete. I had a nice little rainstorm while I was finishing up, but I got everything chilled down, tested the gravity, and our starting gravity is what was it, 1080. So we were supposed to get about 1075 with the mash technique, the reiterated mash. We ended up getting 1080, so that's a little bit better than expected, especially when you look at the mash and boil. Usually it kind of suffers from a little bit of low efficiency, but seems like things with this reiterated mash turned that around, and I actually got a little bit better efficiency than I should have. And I did sparge a little with the first mash, and the second mash, of course, I sparged until I got to my boil volume. But yeah, really good. I'm about to transfer it into the mini brew, and this is my third time using the mini brew fermenter, and so far I am digging it. I'm loving it. Haven't had any issues with clogging, haven't had any issues with leaking, I haven't had any issues with dropout. It's been working perfectly. So if you're looking for an affordable conical without paying stainless steel prices, you can get this high density plastic fermenter for probably less than half of what you would pay for a stainless steel fermenter of the same size. So I'm digging it. I'm loving it. Might have to get me a second one to go in. I can fit 2 of these in my upright freezer, so that may be the ticket. But currently, let's see here, let me get a little splash action going there. But we're gonna drain this, we're gonna fill this thing up. I do have US-05 to ferment with. Pretty much went this route because I did not want to make a starter, so I ended up getting 2 packets of dry US-05 that works. So same thing as 001 US-05 Chico yeast, same thing. It's just I don't have to do as much with it when it comes to starters. So I got another maybe 5 degrees or so to chill on this, but I'll let that chill in the fermentation chamber. But all in all, it's a good brew day, and I look forward to coming back and reporting how this tastes. I'll probably do a side-by-side with the commercial version, just so that we can see where we're at. But I don't know if I'm gonna do anything special to this. I thought about maybe cinnamon sugar or something like that, but we'll see. I always like to taste my beers before I decide to make any drastic turns, just because if it tastes really good the way it is, I sometimes won't mess with it, or I won't mess with it too much. So we'll see. I'm ready to rock on this and get this one tucked away. Again, if you have a chance, if you want to brew this beer, know that the proceeds are all going to a good cause. And if you want to be in the running for my giveaway that's coming up, I think I'm maybe 50 subscribers away from my first giveaway, then don't forget, hit that subscribe, hit the bell notification, so that once I come back with the announcement for the giveaway, you're informed and you can get in the runnings. So yeah, good brew day, but until next time, keep mashing.